I opened it today. Listen, we're gonna move on because you're extra stressing me right now, bro.
I'm also stressed.
Yes, I can see this.
I'm very stressed out right now.
Okay, we're done.
Anyway,
Hey guys.
so we don't have microphones today.
We're trying something different. Out of necessity, not out of want.
That's fine.
It's fine.
We're here, which is what's important. Yeah. Our kids are 4.
Oh my god.
Our daughters.
The difference from that first recording until now, because in the video we had said that like they're just over 3.5. That was
when did we record that?
We recorded that in August. It just took a second.
Really?
Yes. We had just entered
we
spring.
did.
We had just entered spring. And then I sat on the edit, bro. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to be like
relationship.
Life happened.
So much of it happened.
So our kids are 4 now. They just turned 4.
My son's about to turn 6.
Huh.
Whoa.
If there's anything more humbling, it's seeing a child grow in front of your eyes. I think that's the biggest measure of time. To actually see how...
Like how many years 6 years is?
How many?
Like 6 years is one thing, but like being able to see how many...
Do you get me? Not just the 1, not the 2, Jeremy.
Like
it's compounding. Yeah.
Like I was 21 at some point in my life.
Child free?
I was pregnant at 21.
You were 21. Yeah, right.
I gave birth at 21. Like that, but that's the thing. It was at 21. I was, and then now it's.
Do you know he's approaching his decades?
Like he's turning 10 like tomorrow.
That's crazy.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, today we'll be discussing the topic of the very fun, delicious topic that brings so much joy to everyone's heart.
Of the reason why it is that we are
That
mothers.
we are here today.
The other half
of the equation that brought us here. The father of our children. And like just
fathers.
The father. Yo! It's not just one.
No,
we have two separate ones.
You have your own.
Listen, I love you so
Imagine.
much. I'm not your sister wife like that.
We actually, that would be the friendship over. If I'm honest with you. There's like so many things that I can deal with, and I think being a sister wife with you is not, no offense.
Wait, no?
Whoa.
No, I love you, but like,
Whoa.
I'm not doing that. Not. So yeah. So just basically talking about our experiences with that and
how we got there.
Yeah.
Co-parenting. So actually the conversation is co-parenting, let's be honest. Because we're trying to spread, but we're trying to spread light and joy and wellness and
delightfulness.
But we're gonna be honest,
yeah.
Because that's what we do, is that we're honest people.
Yes.
And in the honesty, we'll talk about how we got to co-parenting.
Yeah.
Because we both have very different ways of how we got here.
Yeah.
And then what it's like. And we'll try to be as diplomatic.
Diplomatic, respectful, and honest, all in the same package. Respectful.
No, seriously, respectfully.
Respectfully,
like my baby daddy and I are in a great place.
Yeah. Respectfully respectful. Would you like to start?
Don't you want to start? Don't you want to start?
About co-parenting. Okay,
let's start with how did you get here? Why don't we do like, we'll do the questions, and then like, so first question is, how did you get here?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do how did you, like, meet your baby daddy?
Not
meet,
I don't want to,
but you get me, like, how did you get to the point of co-parenting?
Of co-parenting. So my journey with motherhood really, so we're going to start at the pregnancy part, because that's, I guess, the inception of,
being a mother?
Yes.
I mean, it's a little bit before that.
You get me? But like,
sure.
I'm gonna focus on
those
that.
9 months and not the.
So like entering pregnancy, like at that point, we had only like been seeing each other for like not that long, like a couple of months, and entering pregnancy was something that like I wasn't, when I found out, I wasn't there was a lot of like, obviously like, whoa, this is a thing that's happening, because it wasn't planned. Like I'll say that from the jump, like it wasn't a planned thing. And I had went through the mental processes of like, what is it gonna take of me, right, to go through this and decide that this is what I'm doing. I was, at that point, it was like March 2019, so I was also like in my third year of like studying, and I was like, okay, before anything else, before we get to the, you know, the telling this person, telling the parents, telling the family, doing all of that, can I finish school? Was my first thought. Like, can I make it to the end of like, you know, graduation, whatever? If I can do that, that is at least half the battle for me. Telling parents, that's a separate conversation. But basically, as far as him and I could sense the hesitancy on his end of like, okay, yes, verbally I'm telling you I'm going to commit to this thing, whatever you decide, I'm here. But you could see that like, it was a shock to the system for both of us. Granted, again, you know, we had an appointment booked for me to like, you know, the day before, cut the cameras, cut the cord. That thing. We had an appointment booked the day before, or was it the day of? I was like, actually, I don't want to do that. I want to see this thing through. Which again, still sensing some hesitancy, but he was like, okay, we can do this. Yeah. So a couple of months like pass, everything's grand. And I think when I started to show was when I think the reality was like setting in.
You're pregnant.
Yeah, that I'm actually pregnant. It's not just a concept of like words. It's a thing that's happening inside of me.
Really?
And at that point, it was like, okay, I don't want to do this. I'm out. So the second half was really by myself, just figuring things out. Like I had my friends come to like my appointments, and obviously like, maybe not say obviously, but like my parents at that point were aware. They were supportive of what I was doing. So I was like, okay, I have a support system. It's not like I don't have one. Yes, it's hard doing the school thing and not having my family with me while I'm also going through this life-changing thing, but at least I can say that I do have support. And then going into like, so then the baby comes out of me. The baby comes out of me, and fast forwarding at this point, I was in Botswana, he's like in South Africa, and so for the year post-birth, it was, yes, I'm here. Now that I can see a child, I can see that, you know, this child is mine.
She looks like her daddy.
Yeah. You get me?
She be looking just like her daddy.
Girl, I'm here with you on this thing. So for like the year after that, it was like, okay, support, however, through a pixelated screen because we're not in the same country, right? So then fast forwarding a little bit more, that was the situation up until she finally comes here, which is at that point she was just about to turn 3, I think. Like just after, between 2 and 3 was when she came, just about to turn 3. And I think also that was a bit of a shock to the system because by then I was already used to like being a parent day in, day out. I was used to the reality of what those demands were of me as a parent. Whereas that was something on his end that like, you know, having to readjust and all of that. I think it was just a lot. So as a famous writer would say, things fall apart. That was when things fell apart. But not necessarily on the co-parenting part, just on the relationship front, where it was like, actually, maybe the idea of being a family was not something that in practice was feasible on, you know, at least on my end. I was like, not really working out. And so, we were like, let's just co-parent because you and I were not doing that, but we have a kid that we want to like support, that we love, and here we are. I guess it's just been like a dance, kind of figuring out things as, you know, things come up, because obviously you hit new stages in a child's growth and their development and whatnot, but that's how we arrived at, but we're just gonna co-parent. Yeah.
Whoa. Thanks for sharing.
Wow, thank you for accepting.
Okay, so my story is very different. Actually, the beginning is quite similar, to be honest. Because we met when I was 19, about to turn 20, and he was 22, turning 23. I'm trying to figure out how to. So, I got pregnant actually the first time before Zanya. I got pregnant once. We had a miscarriage. Totally unintentional. Also, I was taking birth control. My body just like stopped responding well to it, and so I ended up being sick quite a bit when taking it. And so I would take it, but then I wouldn't necessarily keep it down. Completely not intentionally. You know, I go through those periods of just like when I puke for like a week or so, and then it's like, so that thing happens.
Yeah.
Cool. You might want to edit that out. I'm not sure. We're gonna figure this out.
Okay.
Anyway, so end up getting pregnant with Azania. This was also around like March, April. But this is March, April 2017. Well, duh, because our kids are all of their birthdays around the same time.
Yeah.
This is like March, April 2017. And we had been together for maybe 4 months, like maybe 4 or 5 months at this point. And cool, we find out that I'm pregnant, and we're not sure what we're gonna do about it. And my thing was kind of, listen, first of all, we don't have to do this. Like, just as between the two of us, we don't have to. We can also go and if you. And then it was like, but also I might actually want to, because I remember kind of like, so Azania's name means God is listening, and I remember praying, and my prayer was like, God, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need something to focus me. And then a couple of days later, I found out that I was pregnant, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, that really was literally beautiful. Like, it was like a couple of days later, I kept on praying this prayer, and I was like, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some type of focus. I need something to like help direct me, because I'm going through it, and like I'm just going through life, but like I have nothing that I want really, and I'm staying alive for everybody else, but like, because I was really struggled with mental illness and and finally pregnant, and it's like, well, I think I might want to keep this one. We agree that we want to have the baby, that we're gonna stick around, that we're gonna stay together, fine. So anyway, so Dylan did ask me to, he proposed to me 3 times, 3 or 4 times over the course of like, and I finally said yes. I finally said yes, and this was like 10 months of us also 10 months of us dating. So this was the thing that like, we barely got to be together before we were like parents, right? Like most of our relationship was us preparing to be parents. But he proposed, and I said, okay, fine. But babies don't fix things. If anything, they highlight the places where things are going left, right? And so my thing was, cool, we'll be engaged. Love that. But can we wait? Because we're engaged, which means that like we're here, but can we wait? So we got married a year, a month, and a day after Azania was born.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very like...
No, yes, that was, so the thing is like, I kept on reading articles, and they were like, a lot of people that get married because of kids will get split up like within the year. So I said, let's just do the year. So we got married a year, a month, and a day after Azania was born. Cool. And then a couple months later, I became with child again with Alia. So this was 2019. And we had, Dylan and I had our own little whatever. We split up for a second. And then got back together, gave birth to her, COVID happened.
Girl.
Ali was born January 2020. Azania's birthday was Feb 2020. Dylan lost his job March 2020, and then we went into lockdown. I had We had a 2-year-old, a newborn, me who has just had a C-section.
All at the
with
same...
like, and the thing was that when we got into lockdown, also like the intention wasn't 100% for us to get back together.
Yeah.
So we had split up like when I was still pregnant.
Yeah.
We were married, but like we had kind of like, we weren't together. We weren't living together. We had basically like, we're not really talking to each other. And we kind of were working on figuring out what we're doing in terms of co-parenting already then. And basically he moved back in when I gave birth to Ali because I needed somebody to be here with Azania because again, my dad was in the States and my mom wasn't here. And so it was like, okay, cool. So he came to come and be here with the zoo and then also to kind of be back here so that there was 2 parents at home.
Yeah.
But we hadn't really had the conversation on like, does this mean that like we're back together or like what's happening? And we kind of were playing it by ear, I guess. And like it seemed nice and so it was working and so I guess we were back together. And we tried. And then lockdown happened. And a lot of people who are in relationships in lockdown will either tell you that like it either strengthened the thing or solidified why it's not working. And for us, I think it solidified that like, no, we did conscious uncoupling. So like we actually had a thing where like we told everybody around us, like we went to everybody together, hi, we're going to get a divorce. Not that that's like
very mature.
Yeah, we did like hi to everybody, we're gonna get a divorce. We had like, although Azania was 2, maybe 3 at the time. This was 2020. He was 2 at the time, turning 3. And I don't know how much he remembers, but we did have like a week of a Zoom. Mommy and Daddy are splitting up. We did like our last, we took him out and he got to like do the thing and we explained to him like this is what it means that like Mommy and Daddy aren't going to be living together anymore. Went to our parents to be like, we're splitting up and this is why. And to most of our friends to like actually have the phone call with them together on hi, we are splitting up. And it was, most of the conversation was like, we love each other.
Yeah.
But we're not good for each other and we're not good together. And we love our kids more.
Yeah.
And I don't want to end up in a place of resenting you. I don't want to end up in a place of hating you where now, like, yes, we're going to get divorced, so we don't get divorced, but now our kids are sitting here with, like, you know, that type of trauma of my parents can't even be in the room together.
Yeah. And everything is for the kids.
Right? And so it's that thing of, like, okay, cool, let's do this and focus on that thing.
Yeah.
And let's focus all of our attention on our children. And I think the hard thing, at least on my side, has been like there's still relationship hurt and like moving past the relationship hurt to be able to just parent. Because there's sometimes when it's like, you know, we'll be in, and I've even actually, I think last year, like I apologized to him. I was like, listen, actually, like I want to say like I'm still hurt and I'm still upset with you from things that happen in our relationship. And so when you mess up here, like I can't even see this mess up.
Because it's informed by...
It's for me. Yeah. Not even like, it's like you might have... And so other people meet you and they meet you here. But I have my own relationship with you and I have my own hurt here. That like, when we get here, sometimes the fights end up being like fights from over there. That have nothing to do with our kids. That have nothing to do with what's going on right now. But it's here. And I think for a lot of people, that's part of where the co-parenting struggle is like being able to really separate from...
Yeah.
Like when you're co-parenting, you're not together.
Yes. And that's a very hard move mentally to make.
Like you're not together.
Because it takes a very high level of objectivity, but at the same time, because we're human, because we feel things, again, the things that are from the past can also be spilling into the day in, day out of what's happening right now. And that also just takes work. And I think that, and that's also part of the coaching also that comes from, that's been helpful in this, you know, this relationship, is that sometimes when there is something that is a bit of like an uncomfortable disagreement of sorts, where it's like, actually, if you can just remove yourself and remove your attachment and response to, and just focus on how it's affecting the child, if at all, because it
and like sometimes also it has nothing, like sometimes this child actually has has absolutely nothing to do with the child.
Yes.
But
But
like,
it's coming from a place of, since I am the mom, so it takes work, and it takes awareness of, is this me talking, or is it me in response to, or me out of protection of, or out of responsibility of my child.
I think it's also the fact of that, like, we're stuck. Listen, love them, but we're stuck with these people forever. The thing is, I've had relationships, and you can ghost. Like, you can have a relationship and break up and never see this person again. When we split up the first time, I was 5 months pregnant with Ali, and I had to go to the doctor because we couldn't feel her heart. Like, I couldn't feel her moving, and I was traumatized from the stuff that from a fight, so I'm freaking out. And then I have to call this person because I have to go to the hospital, and this is his child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I can't stop you from, I'm never going to stop, I'm never going to stop these kids from seeing their dad, as long as he wants to see them, as long as they want to see him. Yeah. And even if they don't want to see him, like, that is that relationship, right? Yes. Which is cool and wonderful and great, except for the fact of, what if I don't want to talk to you?
Me personally?
what if I don't want to talk to you? Like, what if my heart's still broken right now? And a lot of it was, a lot of the time it was that thing of, like, and then also being upset because it's unfair.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how comes as a mom, I have to. Yeah. Like, how comes I have to?
Why, man?
Why do I have to talk to this person that I don't want to talk to? Just like, because I love you guys.
You know the meme, the Nicki Minaj meme when he calls?
Exactly that. Like, talk to your daddy.
I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this, but it's like, also, it's, if I don't, for a while, like, if I don't maintain this relationship, if we don't maintain this relationship on their behalf, like, it's not gonna happen, and so part of it is having to, like, step back and be like, put on your big girl panties. And I'm really grateful to you for that also, like, in that I can come over here and tell you the things.
Yes. There's no price that you can put on a great support system, because you need it. Like, when you're going through it, you need it, but also to having someone who understands, and not just from a place of empathy, but actually
that's
meant the world. This being able to have that with you has meant the world, and does mean the world.
Also, I like that you're not a fighter.
Do you?
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, in this case, I do. I think that it's also really helped, like, you just telling me to breathe, because I'm a very reactive, like, hun. Like, I'm ready to, like, if he texts me saying something, like, I'm ready to, like,
to me, and I see your thumbs. You have fast thumbs, bro.
I'm ready to, like, like, if I'm upset, like, I'm ready to, like, spirit fingers. And I'm really grateful, because there's so many, like, again, that thing of, like, being able to step back and be like, okay, wait, actually, does this affect the kids? Or am I just butthurt? And there's been so many times when just that, like, from you has gotten also, like, from me being able to pause and breathe, has breathe. Has also gotten, like, to a point where, like, actually we come to a better conclusion and we end up not fighting. Like, me just being like, okay.
Yeah. I think for me, yes, but also I think a part of it is that I don't know what I'm gonna say. I know that I can say a lot. So part of stepping back is, let me also just protect everybody in the situation, feel my feelings, and then come at it from a more, like, I guess, logical place, I guess. I don't know.
I'm saying I don't have a logic.
No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. You're a very smart, logical hun, and I love that about you.
I'm just very emotional, that's why.
Yeah. I mean, I am too.
You actually are. Let me not even lie.
I am too. But it's the difference in being able to step out can make things so much better for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to, like, because I didn't want to interrupt, So there were three things that I also, like, wanted to thingy. So the first one was also just lockdown. Like, I know I know this might sound very selfish, but, like, when we went into lockdown, because at that point, so basically So I gave birth in Jan. And in Setswana culture, you have like butsetse, which is basically
that period, right?
Yeah, 3-month period of you and your baby do not leave the house, and you're not allowed to have visitors, just out of like protection of like whether it's a germ thing, whether it's like an energy thing. Just keep the baby safe after 3 months, then you can blah di da. Just as we were about to come out, lockdown said absolutely not. So by that point, I was already used to lockdown, like because I didn't leave my home. So there was a part of me that was kind of like, now you guys get to see what that's like.
I swear.
Again, I know it sounds very selfish, but like also post-birth, you're also very hormonal. You're going through a lot of like, whoa.
Did you have postpartum?
What is my reality? So I had baby blues. So I think it's like postpartum adjacent, where it's not like that, but it's like I was crying every night, and it's not something that I could necessarily explain to like the next person. Girl, not me getting like flashbacks. Whoa. But yeah, it was rough. I don't think anyone can prepare you for what life is like the first
6 weeks.
6 weeks to 6 months. Because who knows when you'll restabilize. But yeah, that was rough.
As much as lockdown was hard, we did try. And I think it was like we did try, and that was the thing, was like as a relation, you know, the thing, it's like some people are bad partners with good parents. We're really good parents with each other. We're really good at parenting with each other. As long as like there's no love, romantical, anything anywhere there, we're great.
Yeah. And I mean, like honestly, props for being able to recognize that and also act on it. Or not necessarily act on it, because I guess there's no way prior you would have known that was a really good move. But like that, like being able to say that actually this isn't working and let's do something about it. Because
I mean, I was 23.
Yeah.
My people die at like 90. There was absolutely no way that like I was gonna sit there at 23 seeing that we're unhappy and be like, I'm gonna do another 70 years of this.
Absolutely not. Yeah, fine. No, but yeah. But again, it's not as easy to do that. You have people that stay in unhappy relationships for kids for whatever reason. So
I feel like that's really selfish. No offense or anything.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you can cut that out. But I do. Think that's really selfish. I feel like for the kids is really making what's the best thing for the kids.
It's counterintuitive in a way, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Question.
So then, okay. Yeah.
For you.
Oh my god. Is this a hot seat?
Yeah. Question for you. So, what has been what is your favorite thing about him as a father? Because I feel like we always talk like bad, like not we, but like people always like to be down on their baby daddies. So like, what is your favorite thing about him as a father?
So when he, you want to start? You can answer your question.
I was asking you.
You can start.
I was asking you.
The thing is that when he shows up for her, he shows up for her. Like, granted, we don't live together. So like, and she's with me most of the time. And like, yeah, just like in life, things are happening and demands are happening, and that's fine. But like, even just with like, because their birthdays were just like yesterday. Not yesterday, but like, they just had their birthdays, yeah. And I was really like, because there were also like family things happening, and him being able to do what he did in spite of like, because it was a rough week on the family's part, like, you know, like they just had like a loss in the family, and I didn't expect, like, I was like, hey, you're here. As long as you're here and you can like show up for her and just be here and exist, that is what I'm sure she needs, you know. That's all she needs. And yeah, I was just really impressed by like how much they did and how much he did for her. So I think it's a thing of life is happening, but he will for her like show up when he needs to. So I like that about him. Do you want to answer your question?
I'm trying to think. I think the same, but I think also, bro, it's taken time. I think also the fact that, especially for Azania, because I have a son, for the most part, and it's getting better now, that also the example of, generally speaking, of how he treats me in front of the kids, and like how we treat each other, for the most part. Listen, we still be fighting sometimes, but like, that he still does put emphasis on trying to be there and trying to be a parent, like even with that, like co-parent, you know what I mean, that like our birthdays are a couple weeks apart, but that he'll come for my birthday so that we can do birthday cake in the morning as a family, that he'll come for his birthday so we can do cake in the morning as a family, that we do for both of the kids, that we do Christmas together, whether or not like I'm in a thing or he's in a relationship, but like that, and that he's able to, which means a lot. Like it really does mean a lot. Like it also, like it's that co-parenting, that recognizing also that like we're both here. Yeah. And that, you know, like when Azania was in hospital last year, that like, you know, he would come and like bring me a cup of coffee or, you know, come and make sure that like I had snacks. He'd call me before because I spent most of the time in the hospital. Yeah. You know, is there anything that you need to eat? Is there anything that you need like clothes or, you know, that type of stuff, which I'm really grateful for, that like, and that type of support too, that he like that he does support me in supporting them. Yeah. Which is a big thing. Yeah. Which makes it, especially not having our families here and not having that type of thing. But also just, he really does love these kids, Shame. He really does. I see it too. He really does love these kids. Yeah. And I really appreciate that, like, a lot of kids of color don't have dads. And, like, you have to fight tooth and nail for their dads to show up. And, yes, there's things that I wish that, like, he did more of. And, like, other ways of support that I wish he did.
And I'm sure that it's the same thing on their end with us, too. There's probably things that, you know...
Exactly, right? Yeah. It's, like, there's probably stuff that they wish we did more of. But I am grateful that, like, I know that if push comes to shove, at the very minimum, I know that, like, I can call on this person to, hi, listen, I need your help with these children. At least physically and emotionally, that, like, hi, dude, like, I'm... going through it or whatever, I need, or I just don't have the capacity, can you please help me with these kids? And that, like, he actually will show up. I really appreciate that about him.
Yeah, and I've seen that too, bro.
Last year,
thing is, love, the love of, like, your kids is, like, unlike any other, and being able to show up for them is a special thing. Together too. Yeah,
it's taken time though. Like, I keep on saying that to you also, like, because we keep on having that conversation of how do we get there, but I'm like, dude, I've known this man since I was 19. I'm 27 now. Like,
it takes work.
Yeah, it takes work, but also, like, we were married. Yeah. Like, I had his last name at some point. Like, we were married. Yes. Which is very different to
having not been married. I mean, so that was that. So one of the other things too that, again, I do want to interrupt, but now that we're like talking about it, was also just on the marriage part. I don't know how much of this might be worth just talking about another time, but like that also was a thing that also was brought to like the forefront in the relationship of like, because we come from very different, like we were raised very differently and we have very different backgrounds, and in like Islam, you know, it's a thing of like, or let me not even say, because I mean, I don't know, you know, so let me also not say that, but just culturally, the expectation on his front was, because we have inseminated and there's a child here, let's get married. I think it became a thing of maybe the relationship is something that we can work on more because of this thing also. I think for me, marriage was not something that I had, like, I think the reality of being a mom was not even that it was enough, but I think with the two, there's the reality of being a mom and there's the reality of let's be married, and then there's the reality of let's be a family unit that, you know, And so for me, the reality of being a mom felt more real, or felt like I could achieve that like more than marriage. I don't know. For me, it's just something that's been like, but again, it's possibly another conversation because like me,
marriage is I still want to get remarried.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
I think yeah.
Coming from one, it is a thing of coming from really different contexts, and then now looking back, I mean, if we hadn't gotten married, I wouldn't have had Ali. I think part of getting married was feeling kind of like I had to, and kind of like on both sides that like we felt like we had to. Not that we didn't love each other. I think we did love each other, but like that's a really serious decision.
Yeah, for sure.
Because getting divorced is a very serious.
It's just the weight of both are very getting married and I think with my parents they never put pressure on that to be like you have to. I think they were also just aware of like this my specific situation. They're like, girl, just and I think I was saying this to you earlier too, that I was like, I told my mom even before I had a child, I was like, Mom, I'm going to have a child out of wedlock. That's the reality that's coming. I just need you to be prepared.
Were you pregnant out of the way?
No.
Oh, well.
The thing is, I kind of knew, like I was just saying now, the reality of being a mom was closer to me than being married. Just out of like, there was a long period of time where, and I don't know, I kind of in my head maybe still dance around the idea, but like, again, maybe it was also based on my knowledge of life and myself at that point, but just the idea of being aromantic. From like high school, never really desiring a relationship. I don't know. I feel like I've always, I guess, put more effort into familial and platonic relationships more than anything. So even when we got here of like, hey, let's get married, I was like, is that a thing that actually needs to happen? Or is it just out of like feeling the need to? Because where I'm sitting, that absolutely does not need to happen for us to be able to continue on the raising.
Well, yeah, because married or not, like
we're still
the child's here.
The child's here, whether or not we're married. So does that need to happen? But yeah,
I still want to get married. I think.
Yeah.
I want a wedding.
Yes.
Out of like I've been planning my wedding since I was 4.
Yes.
And I love love. You know that about me.
I know that.
I love love.
I love love too.
I know you love love. I love romantic love and friendship love and thingy love. Like I love love.
Although now, I don't know. I can be open to marriage. So it's not like I was ever closed off to it. I think it's just the people that I was engaged with didn't get out of me. So that's basically how we got to where we are, and as far as like co-parenting, and that also is it's a never-ending learning of self and practicing, new ways of doing things that work for everybody.
I think it's also boundaries. Like that's been the hardest thing to learn. As moms, okay, we can talk here as moms. Like as moms specifically, when you want the best for your kid, like sometimes it comes off as co-parenting. Like when we say co-parenting, what it means is, or at least I find that like what it meant in my head for time was everything needs to be copacetic and everything needs to be great
for the
co-parenting to happen. And so it was like sometimes overstepping my boundaries because at least you're happy and the kids are happy, and then I don't have to say anything, right? And like I'll go and deal with the things that I'm upset about.
Yeah.
But then the problem with that actually then becomes that it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for anybody because at some point then we're gonna blow up, and then it's like, bro, why didn't you say anything? So I think one thing has just been like setting boundaries in terms of also how much is it truly that I'm willing to do? How much is it truly that like where does this boundary start and stop in terms of, because also the kids will ask for everything. And then kids' greatest world life, mommy and daddy, are living together in the same house. That's not possible. It's not like in this dynamic, it's not possible. And it's like, I think sometimes like feeling bad about not being able to do that will then make us try to compensate everywhere else, but to the point of like, and then it comes back to wait, why did I make the decision anyway that I didn't want to do this? Okay, so now that I made that decision, can I stand by it really and truthfully? You know, I think there was a lot of times when it was like we were trying to do like family dinners and we were trying to like go on family outings, and it was like, actually, I don't know if I can do this.
Yes, because what are the implications of that?
And it gets really complicated for the kids, because then it's like, wait, but mommy and daddy, we're going out for dinner, we're going out for like this family outing.
Yeah, they seem to be
very right. So why isn't daddy coming home to sleep? Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually,
yeah, it's the setting manageable expectations that
for everybody.
Yes, that is the dance that we're doing.
And because I guess it's in their world, you know, and everybody else's thing, it's just like, well, this sounds like fun. So having to be the person to be the bad guy.
Yeah, quote unquote. Yeah.
Billie Eilish. Duh.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Billie
Aish.
Did you want to change outfits and then shoot another one? Is that what you're saying to me? So that it looks like another thing.
Yes.
Am I gonna wear it, Lisa?
You have a delicious wardrobe. I don't know why you're complaining. I've seen your wardrobe.
No, you haven't, because I've gotten rid of like all of my clothes.
Yes, but I've seen what you've worn post getting rid of your quote unquote wardrobe.
Okay, so what am I gonna wear?
I don't know if you'll conjure up something yummy.
Do you want to go for like comfort now?
Sure. I mean, I was there.